Terraform VI, because we all have. This is about indicative for how far we got, actually. So, as mentioned here, apparently we have a meme presentation. I'm seeing this for the first time. About 66% of the judges might remember what we did in Vegas. Our story there was we're essentially leveraging VRA blueprints, but actually deploying them through Terraform. Our use case here being that developers don't want to be clicking around on the VRA interface. They want to run this stuff directly in a pipeline. In Vegas, we got to the point where we had a working blueprint, and we could run that in Terraform, in the Terraform open source component, and just run it directly from the shell. And our goal was to expand on that. So one of the things we wanted to do is host this on GitHub rather than locally, and actually use a local GitHub Actions runner. We use GitHub because, well, GitHub is what we had at this point. You can do this in Azure DevOps, you can do this in your GitLab, in your Bitbucket, whatever you have. Pipeline is pipeline, of course. So we got our local runner running on our Windows jump box, which you probably won't do in production, but again, you got to roll with what you have. And then, of course, we're running this with VRA, which will be talking to vSphere and to NSX. The workflow. This is a good presentation, by the way. So the workflow here will be, you push your code to GitHub, then your branch policies would trigger, someone would actually review this, look at your code, make sure it's valid to produce. Once the pull request has been approved, you will actually apply this, and then GitHub will trigger a pipeline. The pipeline will run Terraform for you and will inform you of the results. Secure network operation, as you can see, it's all very much self-contained. Humans are not involved, humans do not need access here. What we have here is a screenshot of the VRA blueprint. If this looks familiar, it's because it hasn't changed. We were very ambitious, I'm not going to lie. We wanted to both increase the complexity and the capability of the VRA blueprint. We wanted to get it running in a pipeline, and we wanted to actually make good updates to the Terraform codes to actually make it a bit more production ready. I think we succeeded in about, I don't know, 30% of that. I'm not sure why there's release notes in here. I'm sure Michelle or Aleksandra might have information on that.
I just left it in there because Robert put it in there.
All right, let's just skip this for a second. All right, that's the presentation. Now, there is, of course, more to it. I would love to show you a completely functioning end product here, but truth be told, we just didn't get there. The lack of labs this year hit us big time. Thank you very much for Maarten. He provided his own lab for us to do this. VRA was installed last minute, and we spent a lot of time trying to get the existing VRA blueprint working. We ran into a considerable amount of issues. I'm sure Kristoff can attest to that. I'm not sure if it's working. Kristoff, if you can look very angry at the judges. We do have a mini Lucho here. He's not quite as impressive as Lucho himself, but he's doing the job for me at least. Did we get the VRA blueprint working? Okay, unfortunately, we did not get VRA working in time, so there's not a lot we can show off there. The pipeline, however, looked functional when we left it. So it was running when we came on stage, so I'm quickly going to switch laptops so we might be able to show our VRA, our pipeline at least.
1 minute left.
What's this time?
Don't drop your laptop.
You see the Earth. All right, let me just move this to the correct screen. I'm going to assume you can just ignore the billion tabs I have open here. They should be. All right, so we did get a running pipeline here. The pipeline itself is fairly basic. What I will do, I should probably look at my, I can't look at my own screen. So our pipeline will, on the fly, install Terraform, run an initialize to make sure our state is up to date, our providers are installed, and this is where I know if I'm making an idiot, a fool out of myself, or if it actually did anything. It looks like I made a fool out of myself. So normally this pipeline would be running in the folder where your TF files are, and it would actually show you the output of the initialize where I downloaded all those components. Unfortunately, that also went down the drain for a reason that we were troubleshooting until about 2 minutes before we got on stage. Our actual value here is going to be tanked. But normally this pipeline would actually run Terraform, initialize, get your providers. Robert was kind enough to install or to add a Terraform format step in there to make sure the code was actually formatted according to HashiCorp's own standards. It would plan it and then apply that code. The final thing we did have, and Adam is going to give a short explanation on this, is we did get to actually add quite a few modules to make our code a bit more functional.
I'll give you 30 seconds to explain.
All right. part of the promise. Oh yeah. Part of the process of developing a code-based self-service is to give that to developers, right? So one of the things that we want to do is to give the developers a flavor of modules. So we took the Terraform code and we divide it into modules, and the modules will be reusable. So if you're gonna add anything, it's gonna break the whole main.df configuration. And the modules will be broken down into what's the operation you want to do. Day 0, day 1, day 2. Day 0, it might be, I'm going to set up the infrastructure. I'm going to create projects, I'm going to create blueprints, I will create cloud accounts. Then day 1 would be, I'm going to deploy a VM, I'm going to deploy a load balancer, I'm going to deploy a zone, right? Whatever necessity of day 1 operation. Day 2 will look into, hey, I finished day 1 and day 0, I'm a developer, I finished that project, I have an environment called test that is being tagged as test. I'm gonna clean that up, and that the whole thing is gonna be a Terraform call to run that day 2, and it's gonna just swap out anything that I've done based on that tagging. What we could have done there is also the ability for you to embed any cost center. So because developers now they can tag the resources, and then we can actually look into the cost center based on the tagging. So the whole thing is gonna be based on operating on a tag level, so we can clean up what is really necessary. Yeah, that's what we want to do from modules point of view.
All right, that was about it from us, I think. I would have loved to show you more. I think Waldemar is trying to ask a question.
Yeah, question. This model is working around Terraform.
Yes.
Workable to Tofu, for example?
It will work with OpenTofu as well. As of today, there's still feature parity between between Terraform and OpenTofu, as far as I know.
The always was not one. And the second one, the disclaimer for this node. I see the load balancer included.
Yes.
86 load balancer.
It's deprecated.
We wanted to include Avi, but working lab had priority over that.
Some not being more employee, but explanations. You remember what's saying is deprecated, the load balancer and the NSX? And no. Yes and no. It's okay for area suite support, for safety management. But for load, we need to go to one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the release notes is a little different.
Yeah. Our insanely ambitious goals were to actually include Avi in this. We didn't get the existing blueprint running, so we didn't get around to actually updating it for Avi, to be honest. Frankie is clearly motioning me that I'm running way over time, so I'm just going to stop it here.